So, we did a video a while back about Starlink, and we told you it was coming. Well, guess what, guys? It's here. We finally got it. In fact, Nick, my IT guy, is the one that got it first here at his place. This is the box that came in, nice heavy box. So what I like about this right off the bat, seeing it out of the box, is that this stand is really beefy, and it gives you mounting holes right here where you can shoot a screw or a bolt to bolt it down. Even though this thing's pretty darn heavy, it's well built, guys. It's sturdy. In high wind, you definitely want to have this bolted down. I think there's enough sail here, it could catch some wind. The other thing I've noticed is it's flat on the surface. It's not a dome or a dish that's going to catch snow or rain, so that's a big advantage, because I don't know if you've ever had a dish, network TV dish, but if they fill with snow, they stop working. Something like this right here, it's going to tend to just slide off. So that shouldn't be so much of an issue. Another thing I noticed is the cable. It comes with a kind of a built-in filter. I'm assuming that's what that is. And the cable itself is really beefy. And how long would you say the cable is, Nick? Probably 100 feet?
Yeah.
I mean, they give you a lot of cable to work with, so that's really nice. So overall, I'm very impressed with the quality of this thing. Nick, why don't you take it from there, because I'm not real big on the technical part. I think that's where you would really shine.
Yeah, of course. So I can talk a little bit more about the fact that it's flat. So one thing, I don't know if it was a prototype or if they actually ended up doing it, but I know they were working on a heating feature. So if you did have snow buildup, the satellite would actually heat itself up to melt that snow off. So kind of a little more from the tech perspective. So obviously the cable is really heavy duty. I would assume it's outdoor rated Cat 6 cable, power over Ethernet capable, since we have the adapter that you'll plug into the wall near your router. I actually brought down another cable just to compare how much heavier duty. I mean, it's about twice as thick as
Definitely.
the cables it comes with. And it was really interesting that even the cables that are inside are also that heavier grade. And I mean, they're full shielded Cat 6 cable, pretty heavy gauged. Another thing that I thought was pretty neat about it was just how streamlined their router and everything was. I mean, it's a tiny little thing, and they actually put a block in there so you don't accidentally plug it in the wrong port. You would use this port if you were going to put an access point in your house or another router or something, and it just has a little rubber thing that pops out.
Kind of a cool geometrical design, too.
Yeah, it's definitely,
Yeah,
it almost looks like a brushed nickel or something on the front of it, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
The setup is extremely easy. I mean, the way it comes in the box, it actually has the cable about an inch from the hole that it needs to go in the corresponding component in the box. And so one thing I thought that was pretty cool too, this is actually the power over Ethernet adapter, which this end has a cable that plugs into your wall, but the other end is actually, one side's black and one side's white, which is, you'll see you have a white cable and a black cable. So they made it really easy, really foolproof. You don't really need a whole lot of tech background to set something like this up.
Good for a guy like me, that's for sure.
So definitely it's a really exciting thing, and I think it's going to be the future of rural broadband.
Now, when you first saw this cable, Nick, what you commented about the silver? Did that have any significance on that plug?
Yeah, so what that silver is that actually is indicating that this cable is shielded, which means there's the wires that are twisted inside of there. There's 4 pairs of wires, and around them there's a piece of this foil, which actually serves a few different purposes. It prevents data crossover between multiple other cables, and it also prevents it from having issues like with heat or other environmental variables like rain or anything, which is really interesting because this cable in particular is the same grade as the one attached to the satellite, but this wouldn't go outside. This would be in your house. So it kind of shows that they really went the extra step on every component of this thing.
Yeah, it definitely looks like quality equipment all the way through. They didn't skimp anywhere. So we're really very pleased. Now, you did have it hooked up a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, I had it hooked up, and I'll throw some screenshots of some speed tests that I did just to kind of put it in perspective. Our local ISP, the highest package either Hudson or I could get at our homes is 25 megabits download over 5 megabits upload, which, as you know, is pretty slow. So I've run a few different speed tests with this. They average usually around 150 megabit download and about 50 on the upload. So definitely significant improvement. The fastest one I've actually gotten so far was a 300 megabit download, which is 30 times the speed.
30 plus.
Yeah, 30 plus
That's
times the speed.
really huge.
And what's really crazy is our local ISP, our internet bills are both, what, about $100?
Yeah.
And then to purchase the satellite's $500, but the service itself's $100 a month. So
about the same monthly charge.
Yeah.
For way better, exponentially better service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their app is really neat. It's got some glitches, which obviously this is all still in a beta phase, so that's kind of expected.
Yeah, it's only going to improve as it gets as the time passes here.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see. Like, even at this thing's worst point, it's still 30 times better than everything else in the market. What makes this different, because obviously satellite-based internet has been around for a while. One of the issues with that is it's always been speed and latency. Latency is basically just the time it takes a packet, which is a piece of information, to travel from this dish up to the satellite and back down. Whereas they've kind of changed the way they've done this, where they have low orbit satellites, so that distance and that time it takes is a lot less. So you don't have some of the same issues you used to have with satellite internet, which were like a voice over IP phone system that utilized the internet for phone wouldn't work very well because of that delay. Same with any of those video conferencing like Zoom or Teams or anything like that.
Yeah, I know several friends that have tried satellite service that's been around for a few years.
Yeah.
I won't mention their name, but it starts with an H. And they really had poor luck with it. It just was... It was expensive, and the service just wasn't there that they were expecting. So.
I think satellite internet usually will advertise that you're getting about 5 megabit download over 5 megabit upload, which is obviously even worse than the DSL provider that we both have.
Right.
So this is definitely going to be the way of the future. I mean, if I were you, I would start looking at Elon Musk-based stock companies now, because this is only going to get bigger. It's obviously not a public company yet. He does have other public companies, such as Tesla. Does he have any of his other companies public?
Tesla encompasses several different,
yeah,
sectors or other companies, I should say. But there is talk that Starlink could IPO in the next couple years.
Yeah.
And I definitely have got my hand up for some shares of that when it happens.
Yeah. Well, I know because there was a lot of rumors about it, and I think it was either Reddit or Twitter that Elon posted about he wanted to wait until they had a positive growth or positive revenue on it.
Right.
They're making some money before they IPO'd, so it wasn't super rocky on the start. But
interestingly, too, with that IPO, Elon suggested that Tesla shareholders will have some sort of preference. So I've been doing my best to pick up more Tesla shares in hopes that will also help me get more preference when it comes time to pick up the IPO shares of Starlink.
Yeah, me as well. I know me personally, I'm going to hold on to our DSL ISP for a while, just because it does have some outages, I've noticed, given I do have it in a spot on my roof where it does have a little bit of obstruction from a tree, but I can't really do anything about it.
I can.
Oh yeah. This is a great segue.
Yeah, just hire my tree company and we'll come take care of that for you. We actually do a lot of tree work for people to get satellite service with their television, dish, or I'm sure now with these Starlink dishes coming out, that'll help our business as well.
Mm-hmm.
But,
what would you suggest to people that live in a heavily wooded area? Would you suggest they mount it to a tree or mount it to a large pole?
Well, I don't know how sensitive these dishes are to movement. I would imagine they need to be stationary, very stationary, very stable. So I would recommend you just mount it to the best place on your roof or outbuilding or whatnot, and then position it in a way to where you don't have to trim trees, or in a way that what trees you do need to trim you're not going to miss, or it's not going to bother you.
Yeah.
I think there's so much coverage in the sky for Starlink. Correct me if I'm wrong, but And in the future, there'll be even more coverage that you probably can have your choice of several different spots to mount your dish when you get it.
Yeah.
And, you know, that'll then just, you pick the worst of, or the least of the evils when it comes to mounting this dish, so it's not going to affect your trees.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to look at it. I know in the app it actually has a feature to check for obstructions, and you point your phone to the sky. It utilizes your phone's camera and kind of creates a haloed area of where you need to be cleared out in order for it to have its best line of sight.
Oh, that's cool.
It kind of seems like it faces due north. I've noticed most of the time I've went outside and looked at it, it's been at this angle. Another feature it does actually have, if you want to tilt it back, is it has the ability to rotate itself. Rotate and actually go up and down, so it can track the satellite. So they kind of built it for an immediate solution in terms of they don't have very many satellites as they have a lot of satellites, but not as many as they want. So it has the ability to maneuver itself to get aimed at one of those satellites.
You know, like a telescope?
Yeah.
It tracks the star, it tracks the satellite?
Yeah, it tracks the satellite. It's kind of interesting.
Cool.
I know when you initially get it in the box, it's actually flat to the pole, which I was kind of playing around in the app, you know, the nerd self that I am, and I noticed it has a stow feature. So you push that, it actually puts it back in the position you need to put it back in the box.
I'll be darned.
Which I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll tell you what, Elon is a genius, and the things he comes up with are top notch. He really takes the time to and puts a lot of thought into things before he puts it out there. I mean, this is my opinion, but I really am a big fan of Elon. I feel like he's the reincarnation of Nikola Tesla, except maybe even better. And I think the guy really doesn't get enough credit for the genius, the level of thinking that he uses in everything he does. So I don't see really how you can go wrong with buying this system. It's only going to get better as time goes by. And for us, downloading or uploading videos to YouTube, it's going to make a huge difference for us.
Yeah, well, that was actually one thing I meant to tell you before we started the video. So I actually uploaded the first videos from my house. Typically, as we've said in previous videos, I had to drive somewhere that had decent cell service, use the hotspot on my phone, sit there for an hour and a half just to upload a 10-minute long video. But I did one this morning. Video took 10 minutes to upload.
It was a fairly long video,
right on the
too.
couch. Yeah, it was about a 15-minute long video. So definitely going to improve our workflow. Hopefully get you guys more content more regularly now that we kind of eliminated some of our obstacles. So, I mean, ours is kind of more of a niche use for this, but I mean, the possibilities are endless. I mean, they've talked about later in the year having the ability to actually move this thing so you could have it mounted on the top of an RV and be utilizing the satellite. I know they're currently geo-locked, which basically means that it will not work if you take it from where you initially set it up, which is kind of strange because I'm wondering what you would have to do if you move. So maybe we can do an update video when we find out more about that, or throw it down in the description.
And I'm sure there's a way to get that reset.
Yeah, because that kind of seems like a strange feature. But I think the geo-locking is more referring to you can't use it while it's moving. So,
but if you're in a rural area especially, this is going to be the way to go. If you're a YouTuber living in a rural area like we are, definitely it's the answer. So.
Well, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe to channels, and we look forward to bringing you more content now.
Definitely. We'll let you know how things go with this as we get more and more experience with it.
All right. Thank you for watching.
God bless.